My name is Dan Ram. And I am a global MC.
This is it. We're about to start. This is gonna be epic.
Gotcha feeling good. 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 Yeah. Gotcha feeling good. 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 Yeah. Gotcha feeling good. Gotcha feeling good.
All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to CCA Token Summit. Woo! All right. Guys, I am so excited to be here. My first time in Vaduz, my first time in Liechtenstein, the first time opening up the CCA Token Summit. Long may it run, well past the initiators for generations to come, because we are at the cusp of creating the future right here. I love the few hours I've spent in this country, and I cannot wait to introduce onto the stage the initiators, the thought leaders, the inspirers, those who are moving and shaking, and the amazing community that we have here. To everybody that is here, given that it's the first time that you may be in this hall and the first time at the event, I permit you to sit in the back rows. But as you warm up to our amazing speakers, please move closer and come to the front. The seats in the front are, they have temperature adjustment, so you can choose what temperature you want to be at. They have massaging as well. You don't know that in the back, but I know that in the front. So feel free to come to the front for an upgrade. Free upgrade to business class anytime you want. Your ticket gives you everything. We have so much going on this stage. We have so much going on downstairs. We have so much going on around. This is going to be a full day. But quick question, who's from Liechtenstein? Raise your hand. All the crew from Liechtenstein. Fantastic. Who has traveled from Europe? Raise two hands if you're outside of Liechtenstein but in Europe. Two hands. Most of you. If you have traveled from outside of Europe to be here today, stand up, please. Who has come from outside? Okay, fantastic. Thank you guys for making the extra journey to be here. Next year, the goal is to get even more of each of those categories here. Tell the world what's happening. Please make sure you go on Twitter and LinkedIn and everywhere and share what's happening here. Look, I have a lot of stuff to do. Giveaways, emergency exits, where are the toilets, where's the best cup of coffee. I have a lot of things I want to share with you. But it wouldn't be right to start the show without one of the initiators. I know we love this man because he's so good looking. He's so charismatic. His smile lights up the room. He has been called Dr. Token. He is the finalist for the Entrepreneur of the Year. The gala is happening tomorrow night, so we wish him well. He is everybody's friend, and he's the reason that I'm here today. Please give it up for the wonderful Thomas.
Hello. Wow, that was energizing. Thank you very much, Dan Ram. It's so good to have you in Vaduz, finally in my hometown. Good morning, and a warm welcome from my side to the Prime Minister, Dr. Daniel Risch, to the Mayor of Vaduz, my hometown, Manfred Bischof, and to all of our speakers who traveled from all of Europe, from Canada, the United States, the UAE, and many other countries, to our beautiful principality in the heart of Europe. A very special welcome to you, our attendees, be it here in person or via live stream. You also traveled from all over the place. On behalf of the CCA, the board, my fellow board members, Pablo Coirolo, Mauro Casellini, Tobias Fitz, and Philipp Büchel, the last one who is unfortunately not able to be in person here today, I would like to thank our deepest gratitude to all of our sponsors, because without them, this event would not have been possible. Thank you for investing into the future of the blockchain community in Liechtenstein and Europe. You may wonder, why start a blockchain conference in Liechtenstein? For me, that feels actually really very natural. That was the obvious next step. We started the Crypto Country Association in 2017 with the idea to build an ecosystem, to represent the ecosystem. And I was able actually to travel throughout the world to talk about our Liechtenstein Blockchain Act. I attended countless conferences all over the globe and saw how important it is to have associations and conferences to build active communities and ecosystems. We actually have a panel exactly about that topic in stage 2. And stage 2, for the ones who know me, I'm a coffee lover, it's next to the barista bar downstairs. So check the agenda and go to that panel if you have time. And now I'm standing here in front of you on stage of the first CCA Token Summit. I am really so happy. During these travels, we enjoyed the hospitality of others around the world. And now it is time to give back. So let me officially welcome you to the first ever CCA Token Summit in Liechtenstein. Let's start our official program and start with the welcoming address from our Prime Minister, Dr. Daniel Risch. Daniel, may I ask you up to the stage? Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. Valued guests to the first CCA Token Summit Liechtenstein. What a wonderful sight to be able to welcome so many international guests here in Vaduz. Not only guests, but innovative entrepreneurs in particular. And when I think of innovative enterprises, I inevitably think of the business location where you are today, our country, Liechtenstein. As Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, I'm doing this not primarily because I want to introduce you to the great framework conditions our country has to offer, although it undoubtedly does. I'm thinking about entrepreneurship because it's important to us as well, because we run our state like a business in a wide range of areas. By law, we have set ourselves the goal of a balanced state budget, or a black zero. Our public spending ratio is a record low level. And the ministers in our government generally do not look back on a long career in politics, but rather, for the most part, come directly from management experience in the private sector. Our channels of communications are short. We approach our companies directly and we try to understand them before we try to make ourselves understood. Looking back, we've come a long way. Today, Liechtenstein is a modern small state that is able to assert itself in niches all around the world. This is possible only because the state and our business consistently make use of our considerable degrees of freedom to unfold and develop. A very good example of this, without which you probably wouldn't be here today, is the creation of the Token and Trustworthy Technology Service Providers Act, or short the Blockchain Act, which entered into force on January 1st, 2020. Of course, it didn't simply enter into force. It required a lot of preparatory work, especially by Dr. Thomas Dünser and his team. What had already been envisaged for years finally became a reality in 2020. While some other countries may have provided a legislative basis for certain crypto subsectors and at an earlier stage, it was important for us to take an innovative approach geared to the broad token economy. And we were also aware that enacting a law would not be the end point, but rather the beginning. Taking a look at the list of attendees and speakers today, it's already clear that we are off to a great start. What I also know is that, even though I have a doctorate in information systems, this room is full of bigger and better crypto experts than I am. So, like many of you, I look forward to what I can learn today. One area where I can contribute some of my experience after 4 years as Minister of Economic Affairs and about 2 years as Prime Minister concerns Liechtenstein as a business location and how we function as a state. In addition to our political stability, built on a unique model of state and a history of more than 300 years, a core part of our DNA is entrepreneurship and a liberal economic policy. We believe that performance should be rewarded, and that the less the state interferes, the more we consider this a success. For example, Liechtenstein provides direct economic support only to a very little extent, and generally only in crisis situations. Otherwise, our good framework conditions apply to all equally. Our good framework conditions include the fact that Liechtenstein has shared a custom and currency union with Switzerland for 100 years. But at the same time, we have been a member of the European Economic Area for almost 30 years, the tightest form of integration with the European Union there is. Likewise, our membership in the United Nations since 1990, where we advocate for human rights and justice around the world, is an integral part of our foreign policy. As a general matter, international networking is essential for us, whether regionally through more than 50% of our workforce that commutes every day to our country, or worldwide through our export-oriented and internationally positioned financial and business location. This may all sound obvious to you, but at a time when geopolitical tensions, demographics, and climate change are a great worry for politicians and people in general, it is not at all obvious. You may have noticed that the list of crises and challenges I've just given does not include digitization. Firstly, because we see it as an opportunity, and secondly, because I'm standing in front of a room that definitely also sees it as an opportunity. Another opportunity that we must preserve, and that is so crucial in this day and age, is freedom. Freedom is a simple word, but it encompasses so much. The mere fact that we are here today, that we are able to move freely, is not something that many people can take for granted. The fact that we can move freely within the frameworks of rules is true not only of us personally, but also of our companies. Having and defending these rules is a daily challenge for us on both a small and a large scale. If we look to the east, it's apparent that Russia is defying the rule-based order, acting as if only Russia is free. This is something we cannot allow. But even on a smaller scale, where we have direct influence, we must stand up for freedom, because only those who actually have degrees of freedom can develop and use them. The Blockchain Act I mentioned earlier is an example of making use of regulatory and economic degrees of freedom. And I am sure in your daily endeavors, you also make use of certain freedoms to advance yourself and your entrepreneurial activities. This is an integral part of our Western world, and I am convinced that, together with a fundamentally entrepreneurial attitude, it is the core of innovation. I've often said about Liechtenstein, its history and the point we've reached today, that Liechtenstein did not just happen. Liechtenstein was made. And I am convinced that this applies to you, your plans, and your success as well. With these introductory remarks on Liechtenstein, freedom, and innovation, I would like to wish you all a successful, instructive, and interesting day, and all the best for the future. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Wonderful to have you. Bitcoin.com podcast host and entrepreneur.com named him the 2022 Metaverse Advisor of the Year. He is a mover and a shaker. He's the Forbes Monaco editor. He is our co-host here. We're so excited. Let's make some noise from Liechtenstein all the way to Monaco. This is the Count of Monte Crypto.
All right, everybody, welcome to Liechtenstein. And I first want to say, Dan, I've had and I've heard a lot of great introductions. You are one of the best MCs in the world. Let's give him a round of applause.
You're too kind. You're too kind. What?
And Thomas. So Thomas is Dr. Token. He is the co-author of the Tokenization Act. And he's somebody that I consider to be one of the brightest and sharpest minds in the world. I know all of you have come here because you're asking yourself a question, and that is, how do I fit in? You're going to hear from some of the leading experts, the world's greatest minds. But first, I would like to give us all, again, this moment of a round of applause for getting here. And to you, Dr. Token, I know this started in your mind, in your dream, and thank you again, everybody. Let's have fun. Stage
Before
2.
you go, why are you here?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
So
what is the reason you left the comfort of your home and the beauty of Monaco to come here? What are you looking for today?
I'm curious. You know, they say that you're either a knower or you're a learner. We just had our Forbes Monaco Metaverse Gala 3 nights ago, and it was fascinating because the world's greatest minds, some of the world's greatest influencers, some of the world's wealthiest people, they, like you, want to know what happens next. And they're starting to find out that at first, the world laughed at us. They thought that blockchain was for, what, bad people? They said digital assets had no value. Now, people ask me around the world, how do I tie in my company here and fit it in to this new world called the metaverse? Or why do NFTs matter? What is utility behind an NFT? So I came here to learn, well, quite frankly, I have this belief that when you ask questions of a wise man and a wise woman, that is that moment that you gain wisdom, and that while we can go alone would go far, if we go together, we'll go further. So thank you again.
Fantastic. So with that, we are now going to give you the gift of choice. We have got multiple floors of entertainment, education, inspiration. This is amazing. NFT gardens, metaverse, immersive experiences, smoothie bars, multiple coffee stations, and also just...
Do we have cappuccinos?
Cappuccinos,
Thank you.
I think so. So here's the deal. Networking is super important. Both of us in our agendas make time for you to really connect with each other. We want you to leave with great connections, but also we've got great content on stage. So what's happening on stage 2, which by the way is out the door and downstairs, what's happening now? What are you starting with?
You know, we're gonna have some conversations with people that are the top in their industry. We're gonna talk, now I come from the United States, what does the IRS think about digital assets as a whole?
Boy.
We're gonna ask those individuals about tokenizing assets.
Okay.
Now how do we do it? So I'd encourage you, just come downstairs or come to the other side and sit back, take notes. Please don't play with your cell phone too much. It's at this moment that we all rise together. So it's for people that are curious.
Amazing. So with that, if you are curious about what's happening on stage 2, you can follow Dustin. And here on stage 1, we're going to be talking about MiCA regulation. So follow the man in the blue jacket if you want to go to stage 2, and then we're going to hang out here. Let's give it up for the wonderful, amazing Dustin.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you again, Dan.
You're welcome.
All right, we'll see you guys soon.